The Earrings of Madame De, directed by Max Ophüls, is unquestionably one of the greatest films ever made. And I do mean unquestionably. It was one of Stanley Kubrick's favorite films, or the favorite, who's to tell. It's in Roger Ebert's Great Movies list, with a predictably insightful review. It was hailed by Pauline Kael as a masterpiece. Her famed rival Andrew Sarris went further and simply called it the greatest film of all time. Quite an army of support. You could ask if The Earrings of Madame De is worth its reputation. But a more interesting question would be, is The Earrings of Madame De the greatest film of all time? In a nutshell, yes. If there needs to be a film that is the greatest of all time, then The Earrings of Madame De is as good a candidate as any. Visually, it's as sumptuous and deliciously ornate as a film has ever looked. Narratively, it's pithy and clever with the depth of a great novel, impressive considering it's based on a little novella. In this video I'll briefly go over the story and explain why the movie's screenplay, written by these fellas, is so extraordinary and all-worthy. Then I'll move over to Max Ophüls' gorgeous direction. He's not only one of the best who ever lived, he's also one of the most misunderstood directors there ever was. Right up there with Buñuel, that master of subtle, sober classicism. He'll get his own video next year. If convincing you why this is the greatest film of all time is too tall an order, at least I'm sure I can fully explain why it's a classic. We follow Countess Louise de... It was common in old books to censor characters' names to make it feel like you're reading a delicious gossip that happened to real people.
C'est Madame de...
She's full of debts she doesn't want to disclose to her husband, General Andre de... So she sells a pair of diamond earrings to get some money. To justify their absence, she pretends they were stolen. Fearing a scandal, the jeweler secretly tells her husband what happened and sells him back the earrings. He never tells his wife he knows about her lie. Instead, he gives the earrings to his mistress, Lola, who's traveling to Constantinople. There, she bets the earrings on roulette and promptly loses. They end up in a store where they're bought by Italian diplomat Baron Fabrizio Donati. And in case you don't know, that's Vittorio De Sica, the director of Bicycle Thieves. He moves to Paris and falls in love with Louise. She falls back and he gives her as a present, wouldn't you know it, the omnipresent earrings. That's enough for now.
Quand on pense qu'il a fallu qu'elles aillent à Constantinople pour me revenir.
At first, the earrings are nothing but an easy buck for Louise.
Après tout, ils sont à moi, j'ai bien le droit d'en faire ce que je veux.
Just a gift from the husband she doesn't love. A wedding gift, no less. That's a lot of lack of love. The movie opens with her ranking them dead last in her list of luxuries.
Évidemment, c'est cela que j'aime le moins.
Under her furs, her necklace, her cross. Even though her cross is only a pretty adornment. She casually mentioned seconds before she doesn't care about religion.
Jamais je n'en ai eu tellement besoin.
After the earrings come from the man she really loves, they are suddenly imbued with sentiment, her most precious possession. Andre makes her give them away, and hell-bent on getting them back, she sells all those precious things she couldn't part with in the beginning. The same object, wholly different meanings and values. Over the course of the movie's brisk 100-minute runtime, these earrings worthy of the English title, they journey, deep breath, from Louise to the jeweler to Andre to Lola to the casino to a store to Donati to Louise to Andre to Donati to the jeweler to Andre to Louise to Andre to his niece to the jeweler to Louise to the church. Whew! An entire society, with stops for gambling and praying, is touched by these jewels. And the major recurring element is lies.
Impossible.
Impossible!
These people lie. A lot. When Lola arrives, not in Istanbul but Constantinople, she says the earrings are a gift from a man who loved her.
Un homme qui m'aimait.
In the next scene, she's gambling the love memento with no remorse. That was short-lived. For all the luxury in this society, love is not one of them. Lying is. Louise is a compulsive liar. Instead of telling Andre she needs money, and he's a pretty chill dude, I don't think he'd be mad at all, she concocts a shameless lie at the opera.
J'ai perdu mes boucles, elles sont sûrement tombées.
Les portiers pas ce soir.
The lie puts Andre and all her servants through a hassle. It makes the papers, someone could easily go to jail because of her lie, but she never gives it a second thought. When Andre finds out, he doesn't confront her. He just has some sardonic, self-satisfied fun by making her lie some more.
Vous soupçonnez dans quelqu'un?
Non, non, personne.
Du nouveau valet de pied.
In yet another case of dramatic irony, Louise later creates another lie so she can wear the earrings again after getting them from Donati. She pretends they were inside a glove all this while. Oh, silly forgetful me. I love how she thinks she's a mastermind, but she's fooling a grand total of 0 people.
Si vous avez vos secrets, j'ai les miens.
Andre knows she never lost them and comes to the right conclusion that Donati got them in Constantinople. And instead of telling the truth about the earrings to Donati, Louise invents another lie.
Une très vieille cousine de ma mère m'a déjà donné la moitié de ses bijoux.
Donati then finds out she lied to him. And what does she do to make amends? She lies some more.
Qui vous les avait donnés?
Ma mère?
Stop it, woman! She has an interesting way of confessing her love for Donati.
Je ne vous aime pas, je ne vous aime pas. Je ne vous aime pas, je ne vous aime pas.
By saying she doesn't love him.
Je ne vous aime pas, je ne vous aime pas, je ne vous aime pas.
That is, by lying. And to tell the truth, it's not even Louise's fault. It's society's. Damn society! The world they live in is built out of lies. And that's where Andre, the general and count, thrives.
Notre bonheur conjugal est à notre image. Ce n'est que superficiellement qu'il est superficiel.
Louise tends to faint. She faints in the jewelry store, she faints when she thinks Donati is hurt, she faints all the time.
C'est tout de même curieux, chaque fois que je la vois, elle s'écroule.
Andre scolds her not for having a lover, who doesn't, right, in this movie? He scolds her for fainting.
Je vous serais très reconnaissant de ne pas prolonger à ce point vos évanouissements. Jusqu'ici, vous n'aviez jamais dépassé les 3 minutes qu'on accorde à toute femme de qualité.
That is, having her feelings expressed so blatantly.
Puisque vous savez si bien mentir, sachez aussi dissimuler.
She should be hiding what she feels like everyone else does. Fainting's too honest. He cares about her image, not her feelings or fidelity. He's okay with her cheating. Whenever he confronts Donati, he's perfectly civil and indirect. When he tells him about the earrings, he's not at all an angry cuckolded husband.
Vous comprenez, mon cher ami? Il n'est compatible ni avec votre dignité ni avec la mienne que ma femme puisse accepter de vous un cadeau de cette importance.
He just gives Donati a little lesson in decorum and offers a neat correction.
Aussi, je vous suggère de remettre tout bonnement ces boucles à mon bijoutier, de lui dire ce qu'il devra m'en demander.
When he gives the earrings back to Louise and realizes she actually feels love, we can't have that. Luxury will do, a present from her lover is fine, but love? Why can't she just fool around discreetly like her husband and normal people? He doesn't even mind one bit if Lola will get new lovers.
Ah, c'est qu'il y aura peut-être là-bas quelqu'un que mes lettres dérangeraient aussi.
J'espère bien.
It's normal in their society. A man checks her out in church, the jeweler tries his shot.
Ce n'est pas moi qu'il faut regarder, monsieur Rémy.
Andre mentions she's a coquette,
Elle est d'une coquetterie effroyable.
that she has suitors.
Vos soupirants me flattent moins qu'ils ne m'agacent.
In Constantinople, Lola is eyed by every man in the ship. Men court each other's wives and that's how it goes.
Vous direz à monsieur de Paramère que lorsqu'on ne veut pas que sa femme soit regardée, on la choisit moins jolie.
As long as there's no love. Andre figures the only way of curing her melancholy is by killing Donati. And how does he go about it? Through the socially acceptable, respectable, murdering manner. A duel. He makes up a reason by picking out any word Donati said and twisting it into an insult.
J'ai dit que si les diplomates faisaient mieux leur travail, on n'aurait pas besoin d'autant de militaires.
Ah, vous me tombez de trop.
Prenez-le comme vous voulez.
In other words, he lies.
Puisque vous trouvez que je suis de trop, prouvez-le.
He manipulates societal customs to have his way. The film touches on certain sides of society. It repeatedly shows common workers having to bend to please their rich bosses.
Si je reviens encore une fois, je resterai assis.
When two coaches crash, the drivers fight while the passengers flirt.
Et je lui donnerai un pourboire pour le récompenser de sa maladresse.
The film touches on religion. In the beginning, Louise goes to church to pray for the jeweler to accept her earrings. That is, for money. In the end, she goes back to church to give away her now all-important earrings as an offering. Now that she really has someone and something she values, she learns the meaning of sacrifice. The subject is brief but quite profound. The writing's major asset is how succinct it is.
Mais quel hasard!
Le hasard, cher monsieur Rémy, a ceci d'extraordinaire, c'est qu'il est naturel.
And nothing can illustrate it better than the famous dancing sequence. In one of cinema's great elliptical feats, Donati and Louise's entire courtship is presented as a series of dancing scenes in 5 non-consecutive days.
4 jours sans vous voir.
The dialogue summarizes how much time has passed between each meeting.
2 jours sans vous voir.
A smaller amount each time.
24 heures sans vous voir.
Je sais, c'est un supplice.
Andre is a subject touched on less and less.
Avez-vous de bonnes nouvelles de votre mari?
Excellente, merci.
Avez-vous des bonnes nouvelles?
De qui? Ah, oui. Merci, excellente.
They're doing it alone now. It's no longer a public ritual. It gradually, visibly, naturally evolved into a private act. Brilliant visual writing.
Vous me demandez pas des nouvelles de mon mari?
Non.
When her narration says she wrote many letters to Donati but never sent them, she rips the paper and it becomes the falling snow. The same imagery was used in Anna Karenina, but that was just stylish style. Here the snow truly stands for not one, but endless letters all torn up.
D'innombrables lettres.
And since the subject got so visual, it's the ideal moment to talk about the direction. Max Ophüls is famous for his sinuous tracking shots, and that's unfortunately the only thing people mention about him. His camera moves a lot. That's a superficial comment that leads viewers and professionals to think that all long takes are of equal worth. They're not. I will elaborate on it in the next video. Like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Or even better, join my Patreon and watch it right now. It's only $4 a month and you get every video a full month earlier. Moving on, Ophüls is above all a master of mise-en-scène and composition. His long takes are worth savoring not only because the camera moves, that's the least of it, but because everything in front of it is so gobsmacking. Before getting to camera movement, let's go over the pieces that make it work so pristinely.
Napoléon n'a eu tort que 2 fois dans sa vie. À Waterloo, et quand il a dit qu'en amour, la seule victoire c'était la fuite.
Max loved shooting his players through apertures. Whenever he can, he'll position his camera behind windows and doorways, and frame his actors inside the frame within the frame. It's a visual signature that accentuates the picture's three-dimensionality, since you keep different layers of depth constantly in view, and they give the image texture, Max's other obsession. Only Joseph von Sternberg can be compared to Ophüls when it comes to cinematic texture. Max makes his actors constantly walk behind walls, curtains, candles, extras, doors and decor. The frame is full in the front and the back, up to a point that feels tactile, adorned to the level of life. It's a rare mastery of composition. Even his over-the-shoulder shots in Academy ratio are richer and more sumptuous than the most extravagant scope wides of lesser directors, which is practically everyone. Louise's living room has this imposing painting of Andre which serves as the character's introduction. His importance is given through composition.
Monsieur le comte est réveillé?
Il m'aurait sonné.
Mind Andre's shadow on the side here. It ties the composition together, and invites those Sigmund Freuds in the comment section to type literature class level readings. Watch these few seconds. I like the surprising way it introduces Andre by pulling back, but that's not why I'm showing it. It's because of how it starts. Here. The angle tilted up to frame that candelabrum. There's no narrative reason for it. It only lasts a second and we're gone. It's a clear case of, it was so pretty I couldn't resist it. Producers should love it. Every franc spent gleams on screen. If Max Ophüls' shots were all static, his films would already look spectacular. But let's move to movement.
Ah, déjà?
It was common in classical films to start a scene on a close-up of an object, then pull back to reveal the characters and the location. And the earrings of Madame De elevates this little flourish into an art form. From detail to general. Not necessarily that general. It's an elegant way of using camera motion to set up the scene. Teasing the audience, then giving them the full picture. As you can imagine, the introductory detail often is those earth-shattering earrings.
Merci. Je n'en reviens pas. J'ai déjà été très surpris lorsque j'ai vu réapparaître les bijoux chez moi.
The opening shot is the most famous example, but there are countless more interesting ones. Here's the greatest of them all. Witness the most Ophülsian shot that Ophüls ever Ophülsed. Detail on Louise's dance card, Donati writing his name everywhere. Tilt to catch the couple walking to the dance hall. They pass people and decorations in this rich milieu. The camera traverses the wall and we follow. passing through more and more dense, layered mise-en-scène. Through another decorated wall we reach the band in the foreground. Our lovers reach their habitat and dance while talking for a minute and a half before a cut. In their talk, she lies, of course.
Grâce à un petit mensonge, le premier de ma vie.
It's a lavish shot that clearly influenced the style of yet another one of my favorite films, Peter Greenaway's The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover. There's so much to look at that the fact the camera is moving is of smallest interest. He secures your attention with dense decorations and beautiful staging. The camera is just keeping up, always in the right spot and always obeying the characters. If the camera moves, it's because the characters move, and when they stop, the camera stops.
Je ne suis pas en colère.
Here Donati arrives for a visit and stops next to Andre's portrait. Donati prefers to wait somewhere else, so we follow him to the other side of the room and stop when he finds another portrait. Can't escape him. I want to make it clear that Max Ophüls' constantly moving camera doesn't move for movement's sake, as the one of his well-willing but misinformed admires.
And it's so clear to me watching his visual style, how it had affected Martin Scorsese.
No.
Or how it affected Brian De Palma.
No.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
No! His camera moves to get from point A to point B. If he's a camera mover, it's entirely because he's an actor blocker. They take the camera from point A to point B to C to D. Max, the lover of tracks, is still a classical, that is, an invisible director. Andre talks to the jeweler in an exemplary classical long take. He comes from the lavatory. They meet in his room, move to the table to see the earrings. We pan with Andre so he can check the off-screen parade outside. Back to the previous position. He circles the table while a messenger arrives from the background doorway. As Andre gives his attention to the documents, the jeweler excuses himself from the frame while the camera pans just enough not to have dead space on the left. Then no, wait, I want to really drive this home. Because this character is not momentarily important, the director is sensible enough to tell him to step aside from the frame, respecting narrative clarity. Because his absence would leave empty space on the margin, he's sensible enough to tweak the angle the least required to keep visual balance, respecting compositional harmony. Seriously, this guy fucking spoils me. As the messenger leaves, the angle opens up to include the jeweler again. Andre approaches and we close in to catch their profiles. The jeweler leaves and we follow Andre to the table, then back to where he started the shot. Actors first, that is, drama first. The camera merely obeys the blocking. And Max never minds cutting. An extravagance like the camera booming up the stairs here is the exception. Usually he's fully satisfied with continuity cuts as invisible as his camera.
C'est une idée comme seule peut en avoir une femme de votre qualité. Mais ce n'est pas une bonne idée.
Did you notice something here?
C'est une idée comme seule peut en avoir une femme de votre qualité. Mais ce n'est pas une bonne idée.
This cut breaks the 180-degree rule. He also breaks it in the movie's first two shots. Louise leaves to the right, but she comes from the left. But who cares? If the movement is clear, that's all that matters. By the way, he loves this angle of these stairs. He uses it for a match cut with different stairs here. And to cut from a rightward motion to a different rightward motion. His transitions through match cuts are the most inconspicuous of splendors. Look at this wide frame. Beautiful. But look at the next one. Also, but notice how they are composed the same way to make the cut as seamless as possible. And when does the camera move? When the messenger approaches. Then we stop, having gone from a spotless wide composition to a spotless closer composition, bothering to include the messenger's hand and Donati's coffee. And when do we move again? Only when he does, of course. The earrings of Madame De displays perfection in writing, directing, cinematography, production design, editing, and I never even mentioned the great performances.
Le malheur s'invente.
It's the most elevated quality that cinema can achieve, showing restraint and discretion in equal parts with opulence. It's only natural such perfection would endure.
Ah, écoutez, laissez-moi tranquille avec ces boucles d'oreilles, n'est-ce pas?
And if you'd like to call it the greatest film ever made, it would be hard to argue otherwise. Thank you for watching.
Excellente, merci.